Hey guys, welcome to BLONITY. So today I want to talk a little bit about how Bitcoin miners are saving the electricity grid or supporting the grid. I think this is very interesting what's happening right now in Texas. So first of all, I want to show you a little video here on Twitter from CNBC. I think we watched this first, and then we will continue with this video.
This is bracing for bitter cold temperatures as a major storm descends on the state. It's going to feel like 11 degrees in El Paso tonight, where it's about 19. Crypto miners are stepping in and powering down to help alleviate some of the pressure on the power grid. CNBC's Mackenzie Sagalos joins me now with more. Mackenzie, so they're trying to help?
Yes, they are. So since Tuesday, crypto miners across the state have been shutting off their machines in order to ease the burden on ERCOT, which is the name of the Texas power grid. The chief concern here is that, we might see a repeat of what happened in February of last year when 10 million Texans lost power. To try to prevent that from happening, Riot Blockchain has already cut their power consumption by around 99%. And I've heard from multiple other Texas miners that, they're doing the same thing. Some plan to react in real time, meaning that if ERCOT tells them to power down, they will cut off their machines within minutes. This is a major test for the industry to see if the narrative that Bitcoin miners are actually good for stabilizing the grid is true. And so far, it does appear to be working. ERCOT's website shows grid demand in real time. And as of now, they say there is enough power for current demand. Kelly?
But, as much as I applaud their efforts, couldn't they lose a lot of money doing this? Are they being compensated somehow?
Yes, exactly. So miners are technically losing money every second that their machines are offline, which is why the Texas grid actually pays these miners a premium to cut power. And the question that always comes up, Kelly, is why does ERCOT even need additional demand on the grid anyway? And the answer is that flexible energy buyers like crypto miners are really useful when there is very little demand for electricity, like at night. Basically, having more miners and having more flexible buyers helps to even out supply and demand so that you don't see electricity prices either surge or go negative.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So what does it all mean for the price of Bitcoin itself if the mining behavior is affected for this stretch?
It actually probably doesn't mean much. The supply delta from changing the pace of mining is typically minimal. Just look at what happened in Kazakhstan a couple of weeks ago. It is one of the biggest Bitcoin mining destinations on the planet. And amid political turmoil, miners across the country went totally offline, and it didn't do much to the price of Bitcoin. But as for those crypto miners, Riot Blockchain and Marathon Digital are down by more than 4% today, and both are 34% lower so far this year.
True, and that's a point to watch if they continue to feel this stress. Mackenzie, thanks so much. It's fascinating. We appreciate it.
So I think that was an interesting video. So we can see that the mainstream media, especially in this case here, tries to shift the narrative from Bitcoin mining is always bad, into they can support the electricity grid. So we have seen this from Riot Blockchain. They curtailed the energy usage in response to February Texas winter storm. So they have shut down. Of course, that means that they produce less BTC in February. Same here from Fred Thiel, the CEO of Marathon Digital. Happy to do our part in support of the ERCOT grid. I don't think Mara has a lot of miners so far online in Texas. I think the most of them are in Montana, but okay. In the future, they will have a lot there. Hopefully sooner than later. And these miners, they cooperate there because they're good connected there to ERCOT. And ERCOT, it is like an island of an electricity grid in the United States. So they have to be very careful because they don't have too much interconnections to other states in the US, as I'm aware of. So this is physically limited. And we can see here, this is for Germany, the electricity generation here, for example, for January and February this year. Every spike here is 1 day, so these are 35 days or so, 38 days. And the green area here, this is wind power. So we have a lot of wind power here, and the yellow here is solar. So these are renewables, and down here, the orange is gas. This is dark coal or black coal, brown coal or lignite, nuclear, biomass, and water. And here, this is an interesting time here. January 24th, we had, yeah, I mean, solar is close to zero right now in winter. We can see it, despite we're having a huge capacity installed here, but that only works in summer. And wind was also down here very hard. So it was very difficult to supply the demand here. We had this demand here. So we had to ramp up the gas power plants and the coal power plants and everything. And I think now we can go to the prices, because that shows this very well. On this day, the price for 1 megawatt hour spiked to 677 euro per megawatt hour. So in Germany, we can always, or most of the time, we can buy from other countries in Europe, like from France, from their nuclear power plants, for example. If we have high demand and our renewables don't keep up with the demand, but we have to pay a lot for this, of course. And in these times here, I mean, also France and other countries, they also have a lot of wind power, and it is missing there too. So the price goes up to infinity at some point. And yeah, we can see the green area, the renewables are very small here, and that's when the prices move up. I mean, the prices have been crazy anyway, around 200 euros per megawatt hour for January. I mean, early last year, we were at 50 euros. So the prices are crazy nevertheless. But these spikes are even more crazier. And that's the time when you want to have these baseload consumers. They're sitting down here and they consume this baseload electricity. But when we have these spikes here, they can shut off. And yeah, then short the or lower the demand, and that's what Bitcoin miners can do perfectly, and that's what should bring down the prices. And when you're ERCOT, it's not even about the prices anymore. It is about, because it's physically limited, so they have to get electricity somewhere. Otherwise, they would have blackouts. They cannot buy from everywhere around them, because, as I'm aware of, there are not enough interconnections. It is like an island of grid, and that could be very dangerous. And that's why the Bitcoin miners are working there together. So Texas has now the ability to build more power generation from renewables or fossil fuels or whatever. So they know that there is demand for this, especially from the Bitcoin miners, so they get compensated for this. But in times of supply shortage of electricity, they know that the miners can turn off, and that's exactly what's happening. And yeah, I think this demonstrates that the miners really can be beneficial for the grid. It is like a big battery in one direction. And yeah, hopefully this topic will be talked more in the media in the future, because it makes total sense to have these baseload consumers. And it also supports the build out of renewable energy. If you want a renewable energy, you need these big baseload consumers. They can shut off very immediately. And I think that's also the big benefit from miners compared to other data centers, like a Google data center or from Meta or whatever. They cannot shut down within seconds, because their most important thing is the uptime. When they shut down a Google's data center, it's possible that YouTube goes offline, and we don't want this. And Bitcoin miners, yes, they're losing out some Bitcoin for sure. That's not good for the revenue side. On the other side, they don't have to pay electricity at that time, or not that much. So it shortens a little bit the revenue, but overall, I think it shows that the miners are beneficial for the grid. And it's great that Texas is doing things like this, and hopefully they can prevent this blackout this time. I have seen photos there. Not sure how bad it is over there, but of course they need a lot of electricity now to heat up their homes, the people there, and we don't want a blackout there. So yeah, we don't know how this turns out in the end, but I think it's a great way for the Bitcoin miners to show their support. Okay, guys, so that's it for today. Thank you very much, and see you in the next one. Auf Wiedersehen.